Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solution. Today we are going to discuss about what are the requirements for the pre-hiring process. What is the pre-hiring process? So for that, first we are going to see what is a recruitment process and what is the importance of the recruitment process, and after that we are going to see step by step pre-hiring process. Okay. So let's first talk about what is a recruitment process. So recruitment process is a series of steps as an organization takes for finding, attracting and hiring new employees. The steps typically include identifying vacant position, analyzing job requirement, creating job description and receiving and reviewing application, shortlisting candidate, conducting interviews and hiring the selected candidate. So an effective recruitment process can help an organization reduce their staff turnover rate and ensure only qualified candidates join in the organization. So now let's talk about what is the importance of a recruitment process. So a good recruitment process follows a step-by-step system for identifying and hiring qualified candidate who can help the business grow. Here are some reasons recruiting process is important. So first is it helps in hiring talented candidate. So the entire recruiting process involves the HR manager to search and shortlist candidate with the right education, skills and experience. To find the right candidates, they commonly use an applicant tracking system, which we also called ATS. So conduct interview and use other evaluation tactics. Second, we have it saves time and money on hiring. So an effective recruiting process can help save a business both time and money. A streamlined process can fill vacant position faster than a cumbersome one can. Also, without a proper process, organization miss out on qualified candidate who may lose interest because of the delay in the recruitment. And third is it connects with candidate for future job opening. So even if the HR manager select a different candidate, they can always stay in contact with other qualified candidate who did not receive the job offer. And next we have save time. So it also save time on the training. So a structure recruiting process will ensure the HR manager hire the right candidate with the right skills, and qualified candidate may not require formal training to start their work. And it helps an organization grow. Through a dedicated recruitment process, the HR manager can hire qualified and skillful candidate who can contribute to the growth of the business. For instance, they can hire a pool of business development executive to drive sales and connect with the new client. And at last, it also helps hire culturally and fit candidate. So an effective recruitment process can help HR manager determine if the candidate shares the same value and principle as the organization does. So it fits employees likely to be more engaged and satisfied at the workplace. So this reduces employee turnover and increases the retention rate. So what is the step in the recruitment process? So recruitment process typically follow these 8 steps you can see here. First is a recruitment planning phase, and in the recruitment planning phase you identify the hiring needs within the organization and create a job description for each vacant position. The job description lists the qualification and experience required for the job and outlines the primary job responsibility an employee needs to accomplish at the workplace. And regardless of whether you hire for a full-time or a part-time position, make sure you create a job description based on the team's inputs and your analysis. In the job description, you should also mention the job location, compensation and other benefit. A good job description should make qualified candidate apply for the job with your organization, and it should clearly mention the kind of candidate you are looking to recruit. And second, in the strategy development phase, so the next step involved devising a strategy for recruiting the most qualified candidate for the vacant position. In the phase, the recruitment team identified if the candidate required professional training for accomplishing their work. The team also determined the source of recruitment, and it could be campus hiring, job fairs, online posting, and recruitment agencies. Each type of source require different resources. For example, you may have to visit a college for a campus hire. In this phase, the recruiter also selects the different places to advertise the job. Some organizations prefer giving advertisement in the newspaper, while other may upload the job advertisement on the online hiring or job search portals. In your job advertisement, avoid using complex language or jargons words that a candidate may not understand. The strategy you develop may also depend upon the job role and requirement. For example, the technical roles like programmers and IT developers often require a student from an IT or computer science background. Next, we have the searching phase. So the searching phase involves actively seeking new candidate to fill vacant position. Often organizations use both internal and external source to recruit the best fit candidate. Internal recruiters may happen through promotion from within the organization and by contacting retired or former employees. Many organizations use an employee referral system for internal hiring. Some may even get in touch with previous candidates. External recruitment source may include campus recruiting, advertisement on a recruitment agency, and direct recruiting. Next, we have the screening phase. So the screening phase involves shortlisting candidates from a pool of application or CVs. For screening candidate, you may have to review the CVs and profile summaries to separate the qualified candidate from the unqualified ones. When reviewing a CV, go through their educational qualification, experience, skill, and career progression to make a choice. Often, many recruiters use an ATS to filter out candidates who do not meet the bare minimum requirement. Some recruiters may ask candidates to complete a psychometric tests to evaluate their personality, identify their leadership potential, interpret their ability to maintain workplace relationship, and test their general intelligence. After shortlisting the potential candidate, you can contact them via phone or email. Many organizations conduct a brief interview to verify if the candidate still wants to pursue the job role and set up a time for the first interview round. And fifth phase, we have the interviewing and selection phase. So in this phase, the recruiter has to plan interview with the shortlisting candidate, while face-to-face interview are preferable. You may conduct a Skype or video interview if the candidate is not local to your office location. The interview process typically lasts for 15 to 20 minutes, and the number of interview a candidate has to face depend on many factors. These factors could be the number of candidate interviewing for the job, the competitiveness of the job role, and your organization size. Based on the role, interview question may vary also. Look for a response that showcase the skills, experience and stress handling ability of the candidate. Also, use these response and information from the interview to select the best fit candidate. After making a final decision, utilize this phase to conduct a background check and verify the employment detail of the candidate. Background verification can ensure that there was no miscommunication or misleading information shared about the candidate's experience and qualification. And sixth phase, we have the job offer phase. So the next step is officially making a job offer to the selected candidate. The offer letter should provide details like the start date, performance expectation, compensation, perks and benefit, working hours and work related policies. If you are hiring through a recruitment agencies, they should make the job offer to the candidate. And next phase, we have the onboarding phase. So when the candidate accepts the job offer, you can start the onboarding process and welcome the new member to your organization. The onboarding process can help the new employee learn about the organization's culture, understand their work policies, meet with their team members and understand workplace expectation. So, at last, we have the evaluation phase. The last step in the recruitment process is analyzing the effectiveness of your recruitment method. In this stage, you should determine if you are satisfied with the candidate you have hired. Also, consider the cost effectiveness of your current recruitment process and if there are any ways to improve your current recruitment process. For an in-depth evaluation of your recruiting method, you can conduct a statistical analysis. It will help you evaluate the cost and time you spend on recruiting a candidate. You can even use qualitative measure like surveys to ask manager about their experience with the process. Based on the survey result, you can change the process and improve it for future recruitment. And so next we can move the recruitment process flow. So here first we have to create the recruitment requisition, then selection criteria, then we have to advertise for the job, then receive application for the job and a suitable for the job, and also categorize application into A and B. Okay, so access against criteria. So yes, interview the candidate, access against the criteria. Yes, so you have to do the second interview. And then here in the category B is unsuitable for the job, so it's going to be the send thank you letter or email. And in the A, it go to the second round, and if they selected, then they send the job letter and job offer. Okay, and if they did not select and clear your interview, so you can send them also a email, rejection email. Okay, so now let's talk about the pre-employment screening checklist. So here you can see the A checklist. You have to check develop screening criteria, review application and resume, set up and conduct a screening interview, and administer relevant pre-employment assessment and test, and conduct background checks, maintain accurate documentation. Seventh is evaluate for the final decision and conduct reference checks. So these are the pre-employment screening checklist you can see here. these are the pre-hiring process. So what is basically recruit to onboard process? So that is a pre-hiring process also. For any organization, its people are its biggest asset. An effective recruitment and onboarding strategy ensure that the best candidates are hired for the available position in the organization. The first stage in a potential employee's journey with an organization is the recruit to onboard process flow of the applicant life cycle. So this include all the processes from the movement potential candidate learn about the job opening till the time they are inducted as employee and start working in the organization. So recruit to onboard process is basically the job opening, inducted as an employee and start working in the organization. To successfully manage the recruiting to onboarding process flow, you need a robust configuration and some fail-safe processes. So the recruiting process depends on strategies depend for recruiting application, which include maintaining the requisition, building career sites, sourcing and managing candidate, managing interview and extending the job offer, as well as hiring the candidate and proceeding with the onboarding journey. For this, the following process needs to be put into the place: the determine workforce needs, drive candidate engagement, manage sourcing, perform intelligence screening, select candidate and generate offer, and then onboard new hire. So now let's talk about one by one. First is determine workforce needs. After that, we are going to see the recruiting cost. What is the cost per hire? Okay, so let's talk about the determine workforce needs. To have a strong workforce, worker must have the skill, experience and credentials that are typically sought by employers. So basically, Oracle recruiting addresses the primary challenge of recruiting the right talent in the organization. It starts with identify the position need to be filled, how to recruit the best talent for those positions, and thereby improve productivity and operational efficiency. It takes the process into the modern era by leveraging a data-driven approach and a mobile user interface to source and engage both internal and external candidate. So here you can see, to ensure the right candidate is hired, so you have to be specific about the skills and qualification you are looking for in the employees to be hired, and also involve your existing employee, ask for referrals from your existing team, and try out various recruitment and social media platform in search for the best candidate, and provide a meaningful and enriching new hire experience through the onboarding. Next, we have the drive candidate engagement. So as a part of driving candidate engagement, let us take a look specifically at how the hiring team identify the talent needs of the organization and then structure a job description to advertise for the vacancy. So for that, first we have to define the job description. So a job description details the requirement a candidate has to fulfill for the position. It includes qualification, requisite experience, and what the job entail. Develop a job description and corresponding scorecard to identify the kind of trades and skills you need to recruit for. Then you have the pre-screening and disqualification question. So as a recruiter, you can use pre-screening question and disqualification question as a part of the requisition, and it help in screening for the right candidate also. Then career site, so it basically easy to build template based page and enable HR professional to update and refresh the content and branding of the career page. themselves without help from the web developer. And the recruiting team can have direct control over the design, messaging, tone, and the content, thereby eliminating the need to work with IT or go through the marketing department to design a compelling candidate portal. So the entire candidate experience is fully mobile and responsive to support a frictionless application process, and it incorporates multiple or multimedia in the site content and job description to keep the candidate engaged. So basically, getting a candidate engaged during the application process is an important goal for the recruiter. So the recruiter or hiring manager creates the requisition with all the details such as the job description, pre-screening question, and job formatting, employer and recruiting organization description, and branded image or the videos. And the career side experience for the candidate is enhanced with a better understanding of the employer. So next we have the managed sourcing. So now that the requisition is posted in the organization career site, let us take a look at other media and channel through which the recruiting team can source candidate. So candidate sourcing is the process of identifying top talent that matches your required skills, education, and interest for the open jobs in your organization or your client organization. So you can have targeted campaign to communicate with candidate pools and market open requisition to both internal and the external candidate. These campaigns drive proactive engagement with candidate pools, which helps build a talent pipeline for a positive candidate experience. You can choose to incorporate video and the other rich media content to draw them in and encourage them as they complete the application process. So strategy, the media that can attract a high number of potential candidate and cross skills with multiple sources to fill a vacancy with a high potential candidate. So you can do campaigns, social media job posting, agencies, and referrals. Then we have the performance intelligence screening. So as a recruiter, you can use adaptive intelligence technology for intuitive candidate recommendation with the skills and experience that match the job description. This way, the best candidates are really available to be tagged to the job requisitions. So the adaptive intelligence model use information such as applicant, candidate, employee, and job requisition data from Oracle Recruiting Cloud. So adaptive intelligence tool to filter and matches best fit candidate, list of top recommended candidate provide to the recruiter to directly match the candidate to the requisition. So now let's just go to our next phase, which is select candidate and the generate offer. So after identify the top recommended candidate, the next step is to map them to the vacancy and interview them. So the developing the screening process include crafting powerful interview question and trial task for the candidate. Using all these tools, you will succeed in making a job offer and getting the right candidate on board. So draft powerful interview question and receive collective feedback from the interview, and the selected candidate will receive an offer from the recruiter. At last, we have the onboard new hire. So once the job offer letter is generated and extended to the candidate, the next phase in the onboarding process is to focus on the candidate. This includes new hire engagement with guidance-based task management to foster a sense of engagement and inclusion within the organization. Effective onboarding enhance operational awareness and efficiencies, ensure compliance, and verifies, consolidate, and manage data effectively. Onboarding also encourage both pre and post hire interaction with and empowers new hire with critical social connection at the workplace. So the offer has been accepted by the candidate and you are ready to start the pre-boarding process. After offer acceptance, candidates are taken through the pre-boarding process to ensure smooth transition from the candidate are taken through the new hire in the organization. The onboarding process helps new employees adjust to the social and performance aspect of their job as quickly as possible. Okay, so now let's just take the costing. So here you can see what is the recruiting cost. So advertising costs are there, sourcing and screening costs are there, interviewing costs are there, assessment tools are cost is there, and onboarding cost is also there. So basically what is a cost per hire? So cost per hire is a recruiting metric that measures the cost associated with the process of hiring new employees. So these include expenses such as sourcing and recruitment, advertisement cost, onboarding, referral bonus program cost. Example, for if you are hire 50 people for the year and you spend an estimate $1 lakh on the hiring process annually, that would mean that your cost per hire is the 2000 per dollar. Okay, it's a great way to measure if your recruitment process is optimized relative to your industry and roles. So also it is useful when comparing between department across the quarter and annually to spot any significant trend. So multiple factor impact your organization cost per hire. So let's just move to here. Here we can see we have two costs, the internal cost and the external cost. So first let's talk about these, the internal cost. So basically it's a compliance cost also. So these are the expenses associated with the monitoring and processing document to be compliant, example the legal document and the procedure document, etc. And administrative cost is also there. So expenses associated with the support of the recruitment function, including things such as office equipment, rent, food, hotel expenses, etc. So if it is impossible to allocate the exact administrative cost of recruitment, then a percentage of the total admin cost can be used based on the recruitment headcount. And also there is a training and development. So cost of the training and upskilling recruitment staff to expand their skills. This might include the online course and office equipment also. So there is a recruitment and sourcing staff cost also. So this is the cost of your sourcing and recruitment staff, including their salary, performance based bonus and benefits. And the hiring manager cost, the recruitment team cost you can say also. So that is a typically your hiring manager is responsible for the other part of the company. So any time you spend away from the desk doing interview costs the money also. Now let's just go to the external cost. Let's talk about these costs. So basically The background check external cost is also there. So the costs are associated with ensuring with the candidate is fit for hire. So this include criminal and educational check, references, credit check, eligibility to work, immigration status, etc. Then pre-hiring expenses is also there. That is a cost related to ensuring the candidate meets the initial recruitment criteria. For example, assessment test, automated interviews. And the sourcing expenses is also there. The cost of sourcing expense, purchase of information database, professional association membership, these are the costs associated with the sourcing expenses. Then technological expenses is also there. So the cost associated with the recruitment technology, including your applicant tracking system, infrastructure to process application and system maintenance, etc. Then travel expenses is also there. So cost for both candidate and recruiter where travel is required. This include flights, hotel cost, etc. Then marketing cost is also there as an external cost. So any cost associated with the recruitment marketing effort include social network, SEO, website update, and job board posting. Then employee referral expenses is also there as an external cost. So if you have an incentive program to encourage employee referral, then this would be a cost. So we did not mention in the Excel sheet because it is a additional. Some company apply this employee referral expenses and some not. So that's why. And there is a signing bonus that is also optional external cost. So a sum of money paid to an employee to joining the company. Then there is a third party expenses also, like agencies fees. So this could include, for example, a professional association or an example external agencies that provide you with sources or the candidate. Then job fair expenses is also there, and that is also optional. That cost associated with the organizing a job fair include renting equipment, shipping, design, booth cost, labor, and rental expenses also. So the other costs to consider include relocation expense, drug testing, or campus recruitment expenses. For both internal and external costs, you need to analyze every part of the recruitment process for your own company to identify all the costs. Some of the costs we have talked about may apply and some may not even be mentioned in the above list. So total number of hire, if you determine your total number of hire depend on the outcome you aim to achieve and calculating cost per hire, your number of hire could include both internal and external hire. So it could also include temporary staff, freelancer, fixed term contracts. On the other hand, it could include employees transferred as a result or a merger or acquisition or employees that are on a third party payroll. So then the number depend on the period you are calculating your cost per hire for. You might look at the total number of new hire in a specific quarter or in a calendar year for the instance. So how do you calculate cost per hire? So calculate cost per hire, you need to gather all the data of your internal and external cost. You also need to determine the period of time you are calculating, like monthly, annually, biannually, quarterly. And you can also calculate the average cost per hire per department or even per role. You can go through first step to calculate cost per hire. So let's see in the demonstration with the cost per hire example here in the Excel sheet. So first step is gather your cost data. So the first thing you need to locate is your expenses. Report for a specific time period. So try to get this from the finance team and as best as possible isolate the cost for the recruitment team. So next is identify the internal cost. So capture all the internal recruiting cost in a spreadsheet in one column. For example, let's calculate the external cost for XYZ Incorporated as an insurance company. Okay, so here you can see internal cost. I divide here this in a two currency, USD and INR. You can see that. Okay, so cost of sourcing is a 2000 USD. Okay, and recruitment team cost is a $4,000, and compliance cost is a 500, and office equipment is a $500. So total cost is 7,000 here. Okay, same you can measure for the INR. It's a 1,66,312 cost of sourcing, then 33 lakh 2,624 is a recruitment team cost, and 41,578 is a compliance cost, and the office equipment is also a same 41,578.05, and this is the total cost 58 lakh 2,092 rupees. Now next step is identify your external cost. So capture all the external recruiting cost in one column. Background check for 2,500 USD and 20 lakh 7,890.25 rupees in INR. Then pre-screening expenses also there, that is a $1,000. Sourcing expenses is a $2,000. Technological expenses is a $4,000. Agencies fees is a $2,000, and marketing cost is a $5,000. And the total cost is a 16,500 USD. And same you can see in the INR. So pre-sourcing expense is a 8 lakh 3,156.1. Then sourcing expense is a 16 lakh 6,312.2. Then technological expenses is a 33 lakh 2,624.4, and agencies fees is a 16 lakh 6,312.2 rupees, and the marketing cost is a 41 lakh 5,780 rupees 0.5. So total cost you can see here, it's 13 lakh 72,076 rupees. Okay, so this is a total cost in rupees. Now next step is complete the calculation. So let's say you meet 5 hires in a month of January. So if you are using a spreadsheet, your final calculation will look something like this. The internal cost is 7,000, external 7,000 USD, and external cost is a 16,500 USD, and total cost you can see here 23,500 USD. That is a total cost. So what is the cost per hire? Here you can see the number of hire 5. Okay, and total cost per hire is a this 4,700 USD, 4,700 USD. So that is an average cost per hire of any employee. So is that is a bad, is that is a good? So according to the industry average, that's slightly above the total average. So that is depend on the percentage or the size of the organization and the total costing allotted by the finance team. Okay, so that does not mean it's expensive. It depends on the context. So if for example you hired 5 actuarial scientists in any like December month, then operating above the industry average is acceptable and expected. So if for example you were recruiting for a less specialized job, then perhaps you want to review your process on how to reduce your cost per hire, right? So like if you are hiring the marketing executive, okay, junior marketing executive, so your cost per hire is reduced by the sourcing and the salary and the equipment, right? So you have to analyze where you can reduce your cost per hire according to your job profile. So why is a cost per hire an important metrics to track? So it determine recruitment and HR budget. So tracking your cost per hire data helps you understand what financial resource you need to hire in the next period. It helps with forecasting cost for year and also provide a clear indication of recruitment contribution to the bottom line of the businesses. As an example, through a number of social media and employee advocacy initiative. Now it also manage the costing. You don't always need to strive to lower your cost per hire. Surely some hard to fill roles will have a higher cost per hire than other roles. So however, you don't want to make sure that you are getting value for your money. As an example, so you can take any small company XYZ corporate and you want to hire any peon or clerk, so obviously their cost per hire is going to be reduced. And if you want to hire any CEO and CFO, so obviously their cost per hire is going to be high, right? So it depends in which profile you want to hire an employee. So according to that, your cost per hire affect. So measuring the performance of recruiters, also the metric also give you an indication of how your recruiters are managing their resources. So for example, the Nature Sprite found themselves in a situation where their business was exponentially growing as the recruitment needs grew as well. So the company find that by using external recruitment agencies, they were not growing the strength of their internal recruitment team. Among many strategic decisions, the choice to be fully in control of their own recruitment process allowed them to measure performance and result. So this resulted in an approximate drop of, for example, 1,100 USD per hire. So, to calculating your cost per hire helps you optimize your recruitment budget and recruiting process as a whole. Make sure to keep track of your internal and external expenses to get an accurate overview of cost per hire at your organization. A one size fit all approach does not work when calculating cost per hire, as it is essential to take into a consideration many variables, including the role being recruited for, the demand for the talent, and the size of an organization. So this is all about the today's session. What is the recruiting process? What is the flow? What is the recruitment process? What is the recruitment process flow? What is the pre-employment screening checklist? And what is the pre-hiring process? And what is the recruitment cost? So thank you so much for watching the session. I hope this session is helpful for you.